People often talk about Taurus like they are lazy, materialistic, stubborn couch potatoes that are all about naps and snacks. All right. And I know you've heard some of those adjectives before. But honestly, people very often misread Taurus energy completely. As a matter of fact, Taurus is one of the most psychologically intelligent signs of the zodiac, especially when it comes to things like safety, consistency, embodiment, and nervous system regulation. I know you didn't realize any of that. All right. So, in this video, we are going to chat about 5 commonly misunderstood Taurus traits. So if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, if you haven't noticed already, today we're talking all about Taurus. So, you see, I've got my green on. It's Taurus season. I'm really in the spirit of Taurus, not to mention that I'm a Taurus rising. So, tapping into this energy is always homecoming for me in a way, right? But today we're talking all about Taurus, right? And the 5 things that people typically misunderstand about them. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that astrology is so prevalent now. I love that everyone's into their sun, moon, and rising signs. They're into the transits, the retrogrades, all the things. However, I find that a lot of the information that's out there is very superficial. It's very pop astrology. And although some of it is correct, it can sort of lead you astray, especially when we're talking about zodiac sign characteristics. Now, if you're unaware, if you're new to astrology, astrology is many things, but above all else, astrology is pattern recognition. And so when we talk about the zodiac signs, there are characteristics that every zodiac sign embodies. However, how those characteristics play out really depends on your specific natal chart. So think of it as like the zodiac sign is the top layer, the superficial layer, and then your natal chart is the more micro expression of that top layer. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. And so like I said before, when it comes to Taurus energy, we think of Taurus as materialistic. They like luxury, comfort. They can be lazy. They're all about good food, snacks, and naps, and all the things. But Taurus is actually, like I said before, one of the more psychologically intelligent signs of the zodiac. And Taurus energy represents stability in our lives. Everything that Taurus sees, does, and experiences is filtered through the lens of stability. And you have to think of it this way, sort of the chronological order of the zodiac. We start out with Aries. Aries is all over the place. Aries is starting, it's initiating, it's moving at the speed of light, it's being risky, it's really about momentum. But after a while, in order to avoid burnout, we get to Taurus. And what does Taurus do? Taurus grounds whatever we started in Aries. So the things that we initiated now we're stabilizing. So it's not that Taurus is lazy. Taurus is about stability. It's about slowing down. You cannot go 100 miles a minute all the time. You need to rest. And apart from just resting, which is what Taurus is known for, Taurus is also about appreciation. Now, by way of astrology jargon and, study, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Venus is the planet of love. It's the planet of relationships. It's the planet of money. Hence why Taurus gets the connotation of being materialistic. But apart from that, Venus represents worth. And so in the sign of Taurus, we are urged to value things, appreciate things. And it's much easier to appreciate things when you are stable, right? When you're not moving a mile a minute, when you can stand still enough to appreciate what you're looking at, what you're experiencing, or what you are embodying. All right. So when it comes to Taurus energy, it's all about stability, first, foremost, and always. All right. And like I said, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So, especially if you are a Taurus rising or even a Libra rising, Venus is definitely your planet. Okay. That's actually known as your chart ruler. And if you're interested in knowing more about your chart ruler, because it is the most important placement in your natal chart, then you will want to get your hands on my little training. I don't want to call it little. It's short, but very informative. And it's called Your Chart Ruler Runs Your Life. It is a recorded workshop plus a PDF guide that can help you understand your chart ruler and thereby help you understand yourself and help life make more sense. So if you're interested in that, the link to that is in the description box below, as well as tagged to this video. But in any event, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Let's begin, or let's continue with the 5 misunderstood traits of Taurus. Number 1, and I've already covered this before, but it bears mentioning, particularly at the top of this list, is that Taurus is lazy. Listen, Taurus isn't lazy. Taurus is energy conscious. Let that sink in. Taurus is not lazy, it is energy conscious. Simply put, Taurus doesn't like to waste energy. Like I said, we've expended our energy during Aries season and with Aries energy. And so now when we get to Taurus, we're resting and actually conserving our energy. And this makes sense when you think about the sort of facts when it comes to Taurus as a zodiac sign. It's an earth sign and it is a fixed sign. And if you want to know more about what that means, I'll link below my playlist on Astrology 101 so you can get all of the terminology down. Okay. But Taurus is fixed earth. That sounds like it is what it sounds like. Okay. It's very stable. It is secure. Okay. And taking it a step further, being an earth sign, Taurus is about work. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, all 3 of the earth signs, they are not strangers to hard work at all. Now, the thing with Taurus is that Taurus doesn't work needlessly. Taurus needs to have a very good reason to work, right? Imagine that you have a job that is something you absolutely love to do, right? It is your passion. Doesn't feel like work, does it? You could go 16 hours, 18 hours working on this thing, and it doesn't even feel like work. However, if you're in a job that you hate going to, you hate your coworkers, you hate the work that you do, you're um, more than likely you don't want to do it, right? That's kind of how Taurus operates. It's working and it works very hard. Think of like old school oxen, right? Like in the fields, plowing the fields. That's the essence of Taurus. But Taurus doesn't work for no reason. And what I love about Taurus is that it understands the balance. Remember, it's ruled by Venus. Taurus understands the balance between work and appreciation. Hence why, as hard as Taurus works, it relaxes even harder. So I guess you could say that Taurus works hard and plays even harder, or naps even harder. All right. The other point I want to make about Taurus laziness and them being actually hardworking is the fact that Taurus needs to see tangible results to their work. So it's not so much that Taurus doesn't want to work at all. It's like Taurus is like, if I'm not going to see tangible results, AKA if I'm not going to get paid, yeah, I'm not going to do it. So it's not that Taurus doesn't want to work at all. Taurus is like, compensate me fairly, right? Taurus loves luxury. It loves compensation. And if the compensation ain't there, Taurus ain't doing it. All right. So if anything, Taurus is very hardworking and definitely not lazy. Number 2, and I already mentioned this before as well, Taurus is materialistic. That's not it at all. It's that Taurus needs tangible security, okay? And this sort of piggybacks off what I was saying before in terms of Taurus being lazy. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is about materials, it's about money, right? So, of course, Taurus embodies those things. So, it's not that Taurus is consumed by them, it's that Taurus equates material things with safety and stability. And remember, Taurus views everything through the lens of stability, right? So when you equate material things with safety, and Taurus desires safety, hence why they get the connotation of being materialistic, but it's not for no reason. Now, an unhealed Taurus, yeah, maybe they could really be a little too materialistic. Remember, Venus represents the scales. And any sort of Venusian person, meaning someone that's ruled by Taurus, someone that has heavy Taurus placements or Libra placements, even, balance is something that is ever present in your life. It's a theme that is always emphasized. And of course, those who sort of represent or embody the unhealed characteristics of that sign will demonstrate those unhealed characteristics. So, yes, if you are an unhealed Taurus, you may be all about the labels, all about the substance. Meanwhile, you don't have any financial security. Here's the thing, Taurus works hard and Taurus wants to be fairly compensated. Now, the materialistic aspect of Taurus works best when Taurus makes as much as it spends. For the amount of material things that you have, the tangible things that you equate to safety, you also have a nice cushion, right? That you're laying on, that you're napping on, let's say, right? So that balance is super important. And that is probably what differentiates you from being super materialistic and just being someone who knows the value of tangible things. Okay. And here's the other thing that I'll say about Taurus. Some people spiritually bypass reality. And what I mean by that is some people are very much like, poverty consciousness, the humility of humanity, like, oh, money is evil, all of these things. And Taurus really understands that your physical environment affects your emotional state, especially with Taurus being ruled by Venus. It's like if your physical environment is lush, if it is padded, if it is comfortable, if it is luxurious, it really affects how you feel about yourself. And yes, that can be sort of a very superficial way to look at it, but reality is reality. When you look good, when you have the things that you want and need, right? When you want and need them, which by the way is the definition of abundance, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good for the most part. And Taurus understands this more than most. Number three, Taurus is stubborn. Now, that statement is kind of true. Taurus is stubborn. Taurus can be very rooted. Taurus can be very hesitant to change, either their mind, their circumstances, or otherwise. However, the reason why Taurus gets the connotation of being stubborn is that Taurus doesn't trust and detests instability. Okay. Again, remember what I said at the outset of this video. Taurus filters everything through the lens of stability and security. And so the opposite is true. Anything that is unstable, Taurus just doesn't want to fuck with. And can you blame them? Being fixed earth, Taurus is like, listen, I want steady ground. I want consistent. I want stable. And that's what I'm sticking to. Anything that's not that, I just can't mess with it. That's what gets Taurus off kilter. Instability in any way, shape, or form. Not too long ago, I read this post on Threads that was so poignant about fixed sign energy. Now, typically people think of fixed sign energy as stable, stubborn, not moving, doesn't like change. It's not that fixed signs, and in this case, Taurus in particular, it's not that they don't like change. They need change for a good and valid reason. Remember, Taurus filters everything through stability. So if something is unstable, Taurus is not willing to buy into it unless and until it proves its stability. Then Taurus will move, right? And in the same vein, Taurus takes a while to process things because it doesn't want to jump into anything that has the potential of being unstable, right? If Taurus sees that there's a whole bunch of movement over there, Taurus is not going to go because Taurus is like, listen, I'm a bull. I'm kind of a big deal physically, right? So if I go over there, I could fall through the earth, something could happen, I could get hurt. Like Taurus is like, I'm not with all that shit. Like, unless and until there is a stable foundation, it's comfortable, I can move around. This is the image that's going through my head right now. When you're younger, right, and you're all about going to parties in the club, at least back in my day, because I feel like the generation now, y'all be wearing flip-flops to the club with no problem. But back in my day, we would wear the highest heels, have our makeup done the best, you know what I mean? And it would be okay if you were standing all night. Even though your feet hurt, you were younger, so you could kind of take it, right? If I'm older, Not if I'm older. I am older now. So if someone's like, listen, there's this party going on, we're going to this lounge to this party, there are two things I need to know, especially now that I live in Florida. Number one, how is the parking situation? I'm not trying to park in Timbuktu and have to walk 3 miles just to get to the club. In the same vein, I don't want to wait online either. And number three, can I sit down? And I'm not talking about I'm buying a table for $1,500 or whatever. I'm talking about, can I sit down if I get there? If I cannot sit down, girl, I will be in my bed with my bonnet, watching my shows and having some snacks. Can you tell I'm a Taurus rising? But again, it is stability. If I know that I can sit down, cool. But if it's touch and go, like I don't know if there's gonna be a chair, I gotta wear these heels, parking is, nah, girl, you're not gonna find me. That is the essence of Taurus. All right, so hopefully you understood that. Okay, so Taurus would rather move slowly than regret moving recklessly. Again, Taurus is not the opposite of Aries energy, but Taurus is about stabilizing that Aries energy. So in Aries, we were moving recklessly. Aries is doing all the things. By the time you get to Taurus, Taurus has a little bit of wisdom from what has transpired, and Taurus is like, listen, that didn't work. So rather than make another move that's not going to work, I'd rather move slowly, process things slowly, take my time. Again, all filtered through the lens of stability. Number four, Taurus is possessive. Now, one thing that I want you to notice of all the traits that I'm talking about, it's not that they're completely untrue. They are just misunderstood. All right. So that is definitely the essence of this particular video. They are slightly possessive. They are fixed earth. And that definitely speaks to possessiveness. But it's that they want consistency and reliability. And when they find that, they hold on to it. Again, everything is filtered through the lens of stability. So when you find something that is consistent and reliable, right? You stick to it and you're very hesitant to change it because, again, you don't want to move recklessly and you don't want to jump into something that has the potential of being unstable, right? For Taurus, inconsistency feels emotionally unsafe. And apart from just stability, Taurus also seeks and strives for safety in a very tangible and real sort of way, right? And so inconsistency, it doesn't feel safe. And so Taurus literally just doesn't fuck with it if it's not consistent, if it's not reliable. Now, the unhealed part of that can be very possessive. And this is where you get into being unwilling to change and even being stubborn, right? Because if something is consistent, you're like, this is mine. I'm holding on to it. I don't want to change. Okay. Now, this can also go into attachment style. Now, I am not a therapist, but I have studied attachment styles quite a bit. And Taurus can, the typical Taurus energy, especially if it's unhealed, it can definitely skew towards anxious attachment, right? That instability keeps them anxious and keeps them kind of possessive in a way. But that's another video for another day. Suffice it to say that once Taurus finds its thing, it just wants to hold on to it, right? It's like you try a new restaurant, right? Taurus sort of goes out of their comfort zone, which is something they don't like to do too often, but they go out of their comfort zone and they try a new restaurant, right? And the restaurant does not disappoint. Their favorite espresso martini is a 10 out of 10. They have a great meal. I would say steak, but being Taurus, maybe not. Hopefully you got that joke. Um, they find their meal and they're like, okay, this is my new restaurant. This is my new regular meal. And I'm going to hold on to it for dear life. So every time I come here, I know exactly what I'm going to get to the point where I don't even need to look at the menu. This is my meal and that's it. So it's not that Taurus is unnecessarily possessive, right? Although they can be if they are unhealed and they're not self-aware, that goes without saying. But when they find something, they stick to it. So if they happen to be possessive with you or a situation, if it teeters the line of being unhealthy, yeah, that's not something you should hold on to or entertain. However, it's a sign that Taurus really loves you. And more importantly, that Taurus feels safe with you. So take it as a compliment. And then number five, last but not least, that Taurus is boring. Now, this is definitely very far from the truth because being ruled by Venus, Taurus knows all about pleasure. Now, Taurus is a sensual sign, meaning that it is associated with the five senses. So when it comes to pleasure and desire, that's really the realm of Taurus. Now, Taurus is not like dog and pony show like Leo or, space cadet like Pisces or Sagittarius, but Taurus loves to indulge in the five senses, hence why they're known as foodies. They often have a great or very acute sense of smell. Their sense of touch is very they're really in touch with their sense of touch, right? So Taurus lives within the realm of pleasure. And I think the Taurus might get the connotation of being boring because they're not loud. I mean, Taurus may be more of a homebody, right? They may not be out in the streets all the time like a Libra, let's say. No shade. But at home, oh, honey, they're really you gonna have some fun with a Taurus, especially at home, especially with the five senses, if you know what I mean. So keep that in mind, all right? Especially if you are interested in a Taurus, especially if you've got your eye on a Taurus or you're dating a Taurus, honey, it can get, once they feel safe, this is the key. Once they feel safe, oh, baby, it's on and popping. So they're anything but boring, and they know how to appreciate and enjoy life in a very physical and tangible sort of way. They know restaurants, they know shopping, they can tap into romanticism, they can tap into slowing down and enjoying life, right? Because often that's something that we don't always get the time to do. It's not to say that Taurus has all the time in the world, right? But Taurus will make it a point and be intentional about slowing down and enjoying life. Enjoying that meal, not just inhaling it. Enjoying, being at home and Netflix and chill and, enjoying spending quality time and going shopping and stop and smelling the roses. That is enjoying life. Now, maybe it's not the speed of light. Maybe, again, it's not the dog and pony show that some people need. And when we talk about compatibility, if you need that, then maybe that Taurus energy may not be the right fit for you. However, just because they do it slow doesn't mean that they don't do it at all. So, Taurus is anything but boring, at least in my book. So, to bring all of this full circle, I love how astrology is so prevalent. However, it's really important that we take a deeper look at the character traits of the zodiac signs rather than just saying Taurus is lazy or Taurus is materialistic or anything of that nature. It's not that those characteristics aren't true, they are definitely nuanced. And the fact that there are characteristics of the sign itself, but then your natal chart demonstrates how you uniquely express those characteristics. That's the part that makes astrology pure magic. And I feel like that's the part that a lot of people are disconnected from. It's like they have these characteristics and they're like, okay, I need to fit into these perfectly. And that's not the case at all. You're not meant to fit into them perfectly. You're meant to exude them in your own way. And your natal chart can tell you all about that. Now, here's the thing. I love giving natal chart readings. Like, it's my purpose in life. It's how I derive satisfaction. And it's my gift to the world, right? It's what I contribute to this lifetime, right? But you know what I love even more? Empowering people to understand their charts on their own. Even if you get a reading with me, and you can do so via my signature natal chart experience, which is called the Blueprint. You'll find it down below. But even if you have a reading with me, I love for you to come in sort of knowing your chart already so we can have a discourse and so things can really make sense. And so that's why I developed what I call astrology translated. Astrology is a language, and there's so much information and disinformation out there. Astrology translated helps to distill it into a very simple framework that you can use to learn any placement in your natal chart. And that's definitely the place that you would want to start. Now, it is a quick 25-minute video training plus a PDF guide to really help you understand everything. And when you put those two things together, you can look at your natal chart and really start to understand it. It's only $33, and it's honestly the best $33 you will ever spend because it not only helps you understand astrology, it helps you understand yourself in a way that you probably haven't before. So if you are interested, the link to Astrology Translated is in the description box below and also tagged to this video. All right, my loves. So I want you to let me know in the comments below, are you Taurus dominant? Do you have any planets in Taurus? I want you to sound off below and find your fellow Taurians because whether you're Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, doesn't matter. We have to stick together because these misunderstandings, no, it's like they don't get us at all and they need to learn. So comment below what your Taurus placements are. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate you. Like, you have no idea. We've gotten so many newcomers to the channel recently, and I want to say hi. I want to say thank you. I want to say welcome. There's so much here to explore in terms of information, videos, community. Like, I've got it all here. And so I'm so thankful for your support. If you find value in this video, definitely share it, like it, comment it, hype it. Also, if you're watching this on mobile, press that hype button if you really like it, right? Which I'm sure you do. And if you are looking for a way to support the channel, become a member. For $2.99 a month, you get a whole bunch of perks, including early access to videos and, most importantly, members only videos. All right. So if you want to support the channel and you love it, become a member. I would truly appreciate it. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.